back with the On the Spotlight program. I'm Earl Morgan, your host, with my gorgeous co-host, Tinia Bland, who I could not do this show any longer without. I brought her in to do a couple of weeks when I thought I was going to be sick, and that was a year ago, and she's been here ever since. And I don't know, she's my other wing. I couldn't fly without her. But right now, before we go to our next guest, I would like to make a couple of announcements. First of all, we're doing our show now from the Bright Side Tavern at 141 Bright Street, which is at the crossroads of Old Jersey City and New Jersey City. And before we leave here tonight, I'm hoping that Tommy Two Scoops Parisi is in the house so we can see his video of him doing his tape, his little 15 minutes of fame at the Apollo Theater Amateur Hour, where he sings What a Wonderful World up there with Steve Harvey. But in the meantime, let me say this about the Bright Side. This is a place where you can get great, the food is incredible. Is that not true, and the staff is incredible. Yeah. They have people who are waitresses, bartenders here that do some incredible things. And one of them, a local artist, Lucy Rivetto, is opening an art studio at